Alright, so in this video I wanted to talk a little bit about why I chose a Android over an iPhone, and I wanted to kind of share my experience as someone that, you know, doesn't like hate either side. So I wanted to explain why I upgraded from my S8 and went to an Android instead of an iPhone. So I I used to not like Apple products. I used to think like, oh, it's such like a fad type of thing, and it has like this like hipster type of following, all this different stuff. But I think as I've like gotten older and matured, that perspective is kind of behind me. And either way, I still had an iPad. I still had a Mac Mini, like from forever ago. And I really did like that iPad, but there was a point in time where I just kind of stopped using it for a long time. And I didn't really go back to an iPad until about a year ago. So I guess I hadn't really experienced any Apple products. There's a chance that at some point I had a 4S, but I'm not, not even sure right now. So I went back and about a year ago, and I got an iPad because I heard about the pencil thing. When I heard it come out, I was like, okay, well, that's just you just like Android had that forever ago, but Apple introduces it, and it's all of a sudden, honestly, in all reality, it's all of a sudden an actual functional, useful thing. So my brother was telling me about the iPad and the Apple Pencil and how you can take notes with it, and it's just like writing on paper, and you just get the paper like screen cover, and I was like, okay, I'll get one, and it was actually an extremely useful product, and the experience of this Apple product in general was like amazing to me. Like I am a software person. I love good software. That's like I pay attention to those things. And Apple kind of blew me away. I hadn't been into their products in a long time, so I didn't really like know. I didn't know what they were up to. The last I heard, they were just like kind of this. They just had this like weird cult following, and their products really weren't that good, and they just stole ideas from other people, which they still kind of do, but it doesn't matter. So I was like, wow, Apple's actually like very impressive now. Like Apple is creating some serious like user experiences in their devices. And so I took them more seriously, I think, now that I have this iPad. And like some of the big takeaways is that like everything works really well. And I know like they say that they're like everything works because it's Apple. It actually is true. Like the things work as they're supposed to. Like it's just a seamless experience. Nothing's like shifty or weird. A lot of the gestures that you use on the device, like they all work as they should, and they all make a lot of sense. And I I was impressed. So that opened me up to a lot of things. I realized Apple isn't like a sham. Apple is like a quality product. It is as limited as I have always thought it was, but it really it really it really improves its experience, I'd say, through its limitations. So for that reason, I was like very serious about Apple. I realized the limitations are a benefit actually. So that's why I was considering getting an iPhone. So I did some research. I was looking at video quality. I was looking at the user experience of the iPhone 13 Pro. Um, the only other option to me was the S22 like Plus, or the S22 whatever the other one was. And so I was looking at these products. I was comparing them, and I think around that time, like as I was trying to figure out what phone I should get, I think my sister sent me a meme on like on why Android users in the family like ruin everything because you can't do a proper FaceTime. And I think we have a lot of people in my family, so I think I was the only person, maybe one of two people that still were rocking Androids. So I thought that was really funny. And I was like, yeah, I should just totally get an iPhone and call it done. Um, I know the experience will be great. I know that the limitations is exactly what makes Apple products great, because then everything kind of just works across the board. Then you really get into that ecosystem, and maybe next I'll get a MacBook. So I was like really getting into it, and I was really on board with the idea, which is crazy. Um, Coming from my S8, which was working horribly at the time and not giving me a good view of the Android user experience. Um, so I was really considering it, and I want to say I kind of like got off of it for a while until like my S8 really was like acting up, and I kind of had enough. Like I needed a phone that worked, and I was going to be moving to the Netherlands soon. I I needed to I needed to get something, and so I was back on the train. I decided that I kept using my girlfriend's phone because she has an iPhone 11 Pro Max, and I could easily I could easily test it out and see what it had and what features it didn't have. So I would go on her phone. And I would be like, okay, can I do this and this? Because I wrote down all the things I really appreciated about the my essay about the Android, and I wrote down the reasons why I was interested in iPhone 13 Pro. So I was just like making that little list. I was doing testing, and then somewhere along the way, I think I decided I I use Opera as my browser. Don't you judge me. I just love it. I use it on my computer. I use it on my phone. And the Opera on my iPad and on Apple devices doesn't let you sign in, so you can't sync all of your data. Like it doesn't like save your passwords and history and all that stuff like that. Um, and that's a huge limitation to me because I use it for everything, and it's important that it knows what on earth I'm doing and what I was last up to and what tabs I have open on my computer. So that was it. I was like, what do I need a phone for? And I feel like sometimes people in their search for a phone, they're like, I just want all the features and I want the best camera, but I don't take a lot of pictures, and I'm only just making videos now. So video quality and considering both and all these new phones coming out have excellent cameras, like that doesn't matter. So what does matter to me? Um, I decided at the end of the day that I needed Opera. Like I'm in Opera most of the time. Everything else you can do on your device. So I decided to go with the S22 actually, and I think we were away somewhere. I can't remember where. Maybe Chicago. And I kept putting like the iPhone 13 Pro into a basket and like getting ready to buy it. I was like, where can I purchase one? Like I really was ready to buy one, but I don't know. I just didn't for a while, and then all of a sudden, about a week before we were actually moving, um, Amazon had like a really good sale. Like I have no idea. They threw the S22 Plus with 256 gigabytes up for $7.99, and it had obviously like Prime 2-day shipping, and I was like, okay, if I wasn't decided before, I was looking at deals with AT&T for the S22 Plus. I was looking at deals for the iPhone 13. Like I was, I had decided, but I was roughly still open to both. But it's a really good sale. Like to get a phone, like ideally I would have 256 gigabytes. Like that's a great amount of storage. You're going to be able to take pictures at like the best quality with that kind of storage, and that storage usually does cost, not too much more, but about $100 more. But with this, it's a really good deal. They had all the different colors available and everything, and I was like, okay, I've the world has decided for me, literally. So I went and I purchased it on Amazon. That was its own thing. Like, they shipped me one that was definitely used, but they said it was new. It had scratches on it and stuff, and I had to return that. The other one failed to ship, and I have to like leave to the Netherlands in 2 seconds. And then they finally shipped me a good one, but I had to return the other two that they said wouldn't arrive, but then it arrived anyway. It was quite a thing, but eventually I did get my my phone, wherever that thing is. Okay. Eventually I did get my phone. Um, I like aesthetics, so I was set. I wanted the one at the black one because I think the black on black looks cool. Um, but I ended up getting. Let me take out the thing. I ended up getting this like sage green, which to me was the only other possible option because they have the weirdest options for colors like I've ever seen. I feel like the iPhone 13 Pro definitely did a better job of that. But I do like the green actually, and like now if I had a choice to choose between any of the colors, between black even, I would totally go with this and the black case because I think it looks really good actually. Like aesthetically, I know it's weird, but it's sitting on the table. I'm looking at it. I'm like, dang, that looks good. That's a good combo, where you have this like green and black kind of, and the green poking through. So I got this. I got the spigot case, which is what I have on my S8, which is being used to record this, unfortunately, because the camera on this phone is really, really great. Um, so I went with this, and I've been really happy with this phone. Like, I have zero regrets. I know like this was the right decision for me as someone that really likes everything to just like to be exactly how I want it to be. Like, I want full access and control. And I know like I do definitely appreciate Apple products and their limitations to allow you to just be more efficient at the end of the day and more productive, because you're not spending time on all these little things that that do matter, but they would handle for you. Um, I do appreciate that still, but I really do love this phone, and I would like to talk about it in depth in another video, because I think it's great. I've had it for about a month, I think about a month now, and it's totally exceeded my expectations. And I know I'm coming from an S8, but I I'm certain it's a great device. Just trust me there. So yeah, that's why I think what happened in terms of why I chose this over it. The sale was definitely a huge factor, but keep in mind at the end of the day, I think if the iPhone 13 Pro went on sale, I would have gone for that too. I don't know if I would have been as happy as I am with this, but um, I I'm definitely happy that I chose this, and I kind of learned along the way that when you're choosing a phone, first of all, if you're coming from an S8, like if you're coming from a phone that's more than like 4 years old, anything new is good. Because a lot of people are like, nah, the S22 Plus is like the lame, like middle sibling. Like they have it out so you can get the Ultra. And I'm like, that's so ridiculous. Like, I get it. Like the S22, like it's the cheap one. You get that one if you can't afford the Ultra. Um, and then the Plus sits in the middle solely to get you to buy the Ultra. And I did almost kind of fall into that. I was looking at the Ultra and its features and everything. I was like, oh yeah, let me get that camera. But you don't need the greatest camera on the market. Every camera produced every year is a significant improvement on the last. So you're okay. You'll be just fine with whatever is on the newest phone or the phone of the past couple of years. Like the iPhone 11 Pro Max takes amazing photos. Its camera's very comparable to this, and I've done tests with my girlfriend's phone and this one. It's not bad, even though it's a couple years old. So at the end of the day, I do think about if you want simplicity. Um, like I know someone that upgraded from the iPhone or from the I think it was a maybe it was a S9 or something, and they upgraded to the iPhone, and they really missed their Samsung because it had it allowed them to do a lot more, and the iPhone was a bit more limited in a way they weren't used to. So just keep that in mind. At the end of the day, it's it's not like that. It's not that serious of a situation. Like I wouldn't take um, the camera stuff and all that talk too seriously, um, or like it's the ugly middle sibling or something. Like it's gonna be a good phone. It's a significant improvement on any model from a few years ago. So you're gonna be good either way. And I'd recommend just thinking about your personal ecosystem. Um, that person did have a Mac, so getting an iPhone like did add to the experience further, and you kind of just get used to how it works. So I'd keep that in mind, and I'd pay attention to what devices do you have, what features do you use the most on your phone, and what's most relevant to you, what's the most useful to you, and does the phone that you're looking at allow you to do those things you need to do. um, if you do videos and like you do that professionally, then I see why the camera and things would matter to you. But otherwise, keep those things in mind. That's what I did. I just thought about what mattered to me, and yeah, what made the most sense for my particular situation. So I'd advise others to definitely do the same when seeking out a new phone. It's a great product. I'm really happy with it. So yeah,